their client, fell in love with the service, and the byproduct is massive success. So I probably didn't tell you something you already didn't know, but how cool would that be? And see what's possible, right?
Yep.
See what's possible by being a part of this.
And you know what? I think when you fall in love with all of that, and this is again just kind of as a friend observing Dean, is like I've admired how you can change topic. And so for if you know met Dean, like when I met Dean, he was teaching and training and inspiring and like all around the world in real estate was his topic. Like he was teaching about how to do that. Before that, he was talking about selling cars.
Yeah.
After that, he was teaching personal development. After that, you know, teaching marketing or sales. And what's interesting about all of that is fall in love with the customer and the teaching of the client. Not feel like so many of you've pigeonholed yourself, right? You think you can only do this one topic. Or what's more likely for most of you, you think you don't know enough about any topic. So how dare you? How dare you even begin talking about that? Because other people, they already know more about that. They're further along with you. They've earned more, so why even try? Why try to compete? Because it's not about competing. It's about, can you help the person in front of you? Because as Trent said yesterday, it was unbelievable. Trent said that each of these people, each of us, have been assigned the people who we're supposed to help.
Wow, that's a good one.
And that maybe you were assigned a different person who they'll never see my feed, they'll never see my email, but they saw yours. And maybe it's not a million people, but maybe that one person, you were assigned to interact with them and to add value for them. And maybe they'll never hear from me, see from me, learn from me, or any other persons. So we all take this idea that, oh, well, I don't know enough, or they're more advanced, or whatever. It's like, you know what? If you believe in serendipity, fate, destiny, service, God, maybe there's a reason that you're talking to only, you know, those X number of people. It drives me crazy when someone says, I did a Zoom and only 10 people showed up. I'm like, 10 people were there. Tell me you took care of them. Tell me you honored that process. Tell me you felt emotional about the opportunity to do that. Tell me you looked them in the eye and you acknowledged them and validated them. You empowered them. Tell me you cared about it. Or were you thinking the whole time, there's only 10 people here?
Because if you do, you're done.
What a failure I am. There's only 10 people here. There's only 10 people here. I wanted more.
You know what I love? You said that. I love Agmendino's quote. He said, the prize is not at the beginning of the journey. It's at the end. Right? The prize is at the beginning. It's not at the beginning of the journey. It's at the end. And he goes on to say, you know, so many times we get to the first corner and we look around and our success is not there. Like, I got to the corner. It didn't happen. I'm done. And he said, who are we? That's right, Teresa. Who are we to know how many corners we have to go around?
Yes.
Right?
So good.
Right? That's his whole, I will persist till I succeed, right? It's like, not that you guys, maybe you haven't read it, but in scroll number 2 is I will persist. Scroll number 3, I will persist till I succeed. And he talks about that. It's like, it's not my right to know how many corners. Brendan might have to go around 2 corners. Maybe God designed it that he knew I needed more work. I got to go around 20.
Yeah.
And then the goal is there. You don't get the prize first. If you mow someone's lawn when you're a kid, you don't go up and say, hey, can I have $20 first and then I'll mow your lawn? No, you go mow the damn lawn. And when you're done, the mom or the dad gives you the $20, right? We have to put the work in first. And so many times in life, what you're saying is like, I did my first live and 6 people showed up. I didn't do $1 million on this one. This is stupid.
Right.
Right?
They said there'd be 500 people. They said this. They saw that. I was on that person. They did this. And the comparison takes over. The inadequacy takes over. And listen, you are literally by the day following the insights, the whispers, the demands of your lower self, your insecurities, your childhood traumas, your difficulties, the upsets, and you're following that insecurity conversation in your head, or you're choosing to believe in something higher, to listen to a different kind of voice, maybe a whisper or a purpose or a mission or a calling, a higher consciousness of compassion, oneness, unity, service. And one of those voices is dominating you. And the people who make it a long time, I'm not saying that those voices go away.
It's still there. I knew you were going to say that.
I'm not saying goes away, but one's dominating your choices. One's dominating you in that Zoom, but only 10 people showed up. That's terrible. Or one goes, that's my first 10. That's my first 10. Oh my gosh, I had fun. I took care of them. I even stayed on longer just to chat, just to help them. Just take another extra question. I went 30 minutes over just to help them. And you geek about that because you connect your heart to that and the joy to that and the service to that. And that's so much bigger than that insecure childhood thing. And you just choose at some point. Listen, I know a lot of people still live in high school. You and I both know it, right? There's a lot of people who are 50, 60 years old, still living in high school. They're still stuck there. They never made the choice to listen to a different voice or to develop themselves or to ask for help or to get therapy or to attend something like this. But you're already doing the work. You're probably already in that growth mindset. So now let yourself listen to that and unleash and serve and enjoy this. I want to ask this one question because you did such a good job on this. It's coming back to my earlier recollection of like, you had all these topics. So a lot of these folks are in what you call the pivot and one of your challenges. You know, it's like that they're leaving a corporate job or, you know what, they used to teach on, you know, this, they used to be a veterinarian and now they're going to teach on personal development. And they think, but people know me for this. And they don't know me for that.
I remember talking to you about it.
Yeah. So how do you help? How do you think through that? Because you did it successfully with cars and real estate, with online, with sales, marketing, service, business building, running multiple companies. Like how do you faithfully each time like make a major topic shift when the world knows you for something, but you're willing to do it?
Yeah, really, really great question. Because I remember switching from real estate to personal development.
Yeah.
When I wrote Millionaire Success Habits.
Yeah.
And I remember coming to you, it's like, everybody knows me as the real estate guy, do you think? And you get self-doubt, and then you start thinking, I'm not Tony Robbins. Brendan been doing it years before me. Here's what saved my life 25 years ago when I got in this business. And some of you that are part of my family know this story, but the fact of the matter is that we all have those two voices, and I'll get to your answer. But we have those voices that are a millimeter apart. Who do you think you are? There's too many people in this industry. Nobody's following you. You tried going live. 4 people showed up. You know, you don't have a lot of money. You're not an expert. And then a millimeter away is, you're meant for more. Who knows they're meant for more? If you're here today, you're meant for more. Serve more, be more, do more. You know that. A millimeter away is that voice saying, you could do anything you put your mind to. Don't listen to the statistics. Don't listen to your family. Don't listen to that inner self-doubt. Screw imposter syndrome. We could do anything we put our minds to. Anything. And they live like right alongside of each other. Isn't that true? And you could flop back and forth some days, right? Some days it's like you have a full-up conversation. This would be the stupidest thing in the world. Who the hell? I got to start with an Instagram with 2 followers. And a second later, you're like, I don't give a shit. I don't have Instagram followers. I'll do coaching first. I'll get this dialed in. I'll get my first 5 clients. It's like, who are these 2 crazy people that live inside my head, right? Ping pong. Exactly, Kathleen. But here's what helped me 25 years ago. When you feel I want to shift into a new industry, what happens, at least my brain, starts thinking, I got to be an expert on all of it. And what allowed me to shift, when I switched from cars to real estate, I'm like, I'm not doing $100 million a year in real estate. I don't own big apartment buildings. I don't own a strip mall. I'm not retired just from real estate. Man, there's so many people smarter than me, and I don't know the KPIs of an investment deal or the SOPs of buying 50 houses at once. Got in my head, but I remember when I boiled it back down, I was like, no, but I'm not going to teach anybody that shit. What I got really good at is when I didn't have a lot of money, I could find single-family homes, fix them up, and flip them for a nice profit. That's all I needed to teach. If someone else was teaching multifamily or how to be a millionaire overnight or how to buy strip malls, man, I would be like, here's the visual I think. Ready for this? This sounds crazy. I'm going to point because in the other room I have a room we built for just doing masterminds on purpose before it was built on the purpose to do masterminds before the world fell apart. And then we built this cool thing, right? But I always visually think, if the room was filled, I want you to all do this exercise with me. If the room was filled with the right kind of people, would your confidence be tenfold? So think about this. If I said, hey, Dean, got to teach, this is rewind 20 years ago. Dean, there's a room in there of people from ages 18 to 70. Some are struggling financially. Some are multimillionaires. Some want to invest in multifamily. Some want to invest in strip malls. Some want to buy condos. Some want to do vacation rentals. Some want to buy their first house. Some have money. Some don't. Could you go teach them? I'd throw up. I'd be like, I don't, what do I teach them? Where do I start? But if someone said, hey, there's a room in there of success seekers that have been thinking about real estate for a long time. They just don't know how to get started, and they'd love to get in their first investment property. I got this. And I'd go in, right? I got this.
One thing,
right? So when I started thinking that in real estate, in a moment I got it. When I went from real estate to personal development, I started thinking, I am not Eckhart Tolle. I'm not Wayne Dyer. I'm not Tony Robbins. I'm not Dale Carnegie. I'm not Earl Nightingale. I'm not Brendan Bouchard. But I started thinking, but I got some pretty badass success habits that have changed my life. So I'm just going to be the success habits guy. Like, because I framed everything in my mind for 25 years around, hey, is that a good habit or a bad habit? Can I bump it out of the way? Can I replace it with this habit? I'm like, so I'll just be the habits guy. And when I'm like, oh, I could go, if someone said go in there and do the Wayne Dyer getting centered and gratitude and feel flooded with love, like a rainbow of light is coming to the top of your head and you feel tingles in your body, like, I can't go in there. Right. Not my gig. Not my gig, right? I'll screw that whole crowd up. They'll throw me out of there. But say, hey, there's some people in there that their habits don't serve them and they're not happy. They're not making money. Their business isn't working. Could you go in there and give them some better habits? I got this, right? It's the same feeling. When you switch, just narrow it down to pick the one thing inside the one thing inside the one thing that you know for a fact. If you put 50 women in that room, right? It's like if you teach people to go vegan. You want 50 people in there. If you want to teach women to go vegan, you want 50 women in a room that have been thinking about going vegan for a long time, but they're finding it complicated. Could you talk to that person? Hell yes, let me in. So that's what's allowed me to switch is narrowing it, find the one thing inside the one thing you're confident with. Nobody in the world will do it better than you.
Woo! So good. So good. Most people knew me for personal development, and then I started teaching marketing. Today I teach a lot about marketing and sales and business and stuff, but back then when I did my very first big promotion for marketing, it wasn't, I'm going to teach you all online marketing. It wasn't web pages. It wasn't sales. It wasn't even high ticket. It was like, hey, you know what? I figured out how to get these nonprofit organizations to partner with me to promote this book I had. That one thing generated $1 million in sales that year. It was just like, hey, I literally got 3 nonprofit organizations to partner with me to help promote my book. And authors, I wasn't giving publishing advice. I wasn't giving them, they were just like, how did you do that? How did you do that one thing? And I was like, I do this one thing. And I taught that. And that thing, that one learned
catapulted
skill,
you into all of this.
Then as I learned to do that, as I taught that, people ask me other things. I'm like, I can do that, or I'm doing that. And I'd learn, and you will add topics. Competency is not fixed. That's what they mean by growth mindset. It means I can learn new things, try new things, stretch my capabilities, become better at things, and I trust in that belief. I trust in that ability to figure things out, to evolve, to grow, to get better. And that is the essential element. If you're not earning already, and you've heard about this for years, that's it. You don't believe in your ability to figure things out. Or you're trying to take on too much. You're trying to be like her or them and do everything. And it's like, one thing, man. One thing. Figure out one thing. Offer that. Make that. Go for that. That will really help. I know you've got to run. I would love to hear your, sort of parting message to these folks as they're, going to finish Summit today. And they're going to go off and maybe they sign up for Influencer School, maybe they got Kajabi, maybe they're just going to, finally go out and actually do the thing. What would be your message to them as they go out in the world and try to serve at this level?
First off, I want to say, you guys are so amazing. I'm watching these chats. Anthony, you know me. I literally am leaving to go pick up my kids. That is no exaggeration. I'm leaving. I got to do one call and then I'm going to pick up my kids. So what my why is. When my kids are with me, I never miss, no matter what. Even leaving you amazing people. And so many of you talking about the dot. The last thing I would share is life's not easy. That's a fact. And it gets hard. And we question ourselves. And we're not sure if we could do it. And we all have stories and beliefs. And you all have worked on your personal development or you wouldn't be here. We all have limiting beliefs. We all have stories. All that shit. But it really boils down to this. Life's going to be hard. That's just a fact. Sorry, you're like, oh, thanks for the enlightening last message, right? But life's going to be hard. But wouldn't you rather work a little bit harder now so you can have an easier life later? Like, work hard now. Be uncomfortable now. Take uncomfortable action now. Do things you would have never done before now. Because I promise you there's going to be a someday when you're going to look back and you would give every dime you have to go back to this very moment and start over. You know, I love that saying, when is the best time to plant a tree? 10 years ago. But when's the second best time? Today. I promise, if we just keep talking about it, just thinking about it, you'll look ahead 10 years, 20 years, 40 years and look back and go, oh my God, I was only 57 when I watched that. What the hell was I thinking? Now I'm 72 and I still want to do something. There's never a good time. There's never a comfortable time. But there's never a time we want to get to the end of our lives and God, imagine if someone played us a video of the man or the woman we could have been. Oof, that would be the worst thing you could ever think of. So if you were 95 years old, it was the end of your life, and you had one wish, you know what your wish would probably be? To come back and be who you are right today, to have another shot. Wish granted. Get after it.
Woo!
I got to
go. Ladies and gentlemen, Dean Graziosi. Wow. Wow. Wow, wish granted. Light up something you learned from Dean in the chat for us right here, ladies and gentlemen. Something you learned in the chat. Wow. That's $1 million insight right there. That's so good. Thank you, brother. Who's feeling this today? Influencer Summit. How you doing out there? Woo! Wish granted. You're today. Build, start, serve. Love this. Enjoy this. Wow. Wow. All right, all right, all right. This is amazing. Woo. You know, one thing I love about this industry is, you know, getting to bring Dean and Natalie and Lisa and Trent and Danielle and Amy and I just think of something that maybe you don't get to see, and the joy that makes this fun. Because people always say, but Brendan, why do you still do it? And I always say it's joy. It's always joy first. It's the joy of the craft or taking care of the client, or there's something fun about it. There's something joyful about it. Yes, the contribution. Yes, the lifestyle, all those things. But you know one thing that's so underspoken, and I really mean this, it's the friends you build along the way. Like, you have to think, everyone showed up to do Influencer Summit for you for free. You all get that, right? Like, we partnered and we got Boss Babe and Kajabi to support us in the event. But these are just friends coming in and willing to share their insights with you, taking time out before they go pick up the kids. Or Trent flying up because, you know, I could talk to him on Zoom, but I'd rather be there with you, brother. So Trent flying up literally for the day from Texas to Arizona just to talk with you yesterday. You understand he did that on his own dime just to see you, just to give a hug? Literally, come, hug, we talk, he serves you, he goes back, gets in a car, goes back, gets on a plane, goes back to his family. That's an underspoken thing. People don't understand that, you know? They don't understand that, you know, if Jay needs something, he texts me and I'm there for him. If I'm going out to LA, I message up Lewis and we're at a concert together now. If I'm on the road in a certain town and I know somebody lives there, you know, it's like, oh, Ed lives there, or Dean lives here, or Marie lives there, or Gabby lives there. Like, all these friends who you get to meet because you went for it. And I really want you to get that. Because right now, if you're starting, it's like, I'm so alone. Nobody knows me. You got to work through that and keep going. You got to work through that. You got to find your voice, which we're going to talk about. But you got to find your voice. Tell your story. Put yourself out there again and again and again. I think of Natalie and Danielle, their story. They started alone. They were doing the thing alone by themselves. They came to a seminar. They met one another. They talked. Then they built up Boss Babe practically alone. And then one day, I see what they're doing. I say, hey, why don't you come over to this group I do? And I do a group with kind of the top names in the industry. You can't get in. It's not a public thing. And I said, why don't you come and join this group? Just come check it out. They come down. We had an amazing meetup. And now we're all friends. We go, we've traveled together. We see each other. We speak on each other's stages. We're on each other's podcasts. And we do all of that just for each other. So I know if you're starting alone, you see two dudes sitting up here, oh, well, they're lucky they've been doing it so long. It's like, yeah, but one part about the fun, like the reason I came out here for this was to see my friends in person. I can do this from home, right? You all see me doing Growth Day every Wednesday, but I was like, no, I really want to see my friends. So I know if you're alone, you might think, oh, well, I'm never going to break through. Oh, well, I see what they're doing. I see all those people in the industry getting together at their, fancy events in the front. It's like, don't forget we're friends. And you're going to make a lot of friends, just like you're going to make a lot of breakthroughs. This is an industry. I always feel like I have to say it. It's an industry. You feel like you're home and that you are alone in this journey. I'm like, there's a million of you doing the same job and the same career. You have to realize, like, your same topic, your same passion, your same expertise, your same background. You think you're the only one who lost somebody to suicide? You're the only one who overcame cancer? You're the only one who dealt with the sickness of a child? You're the only one who had to find your voice? You're the only one who had to learn to build up an opt-in page? We all had to learn that. But we got to know each other because we learned it and we stayed. We learned, we stayed, we kept going. And I promise you right now, I just want you to hear me. It's okay if it feels alone. But I promise you there's other people out there doing it. This is an industry. And you're going to meet some incredible people in this industry who will help you, who you become friends with, who will be of service to you. And I get another opportunity today to bring another surprise guest to you in the same exact light. I want to tell you about somebody who became a great friend and a great mentor and a great business partner, and just somebody in my life who I so valued. And it happened because you're not alone in the industry. Let me tell you about a time I felt really alone, really alone. What happened for me? I was doing a seminar, and I was learning how to do seminars, like conferences, in-person events. And I was doing one, and I was on day 2 of a 4-day event. Now, it was just me teaching by myself, right, for 4 days, 8 hours a day, on stage by myself, teaching this audience. Now, I'd filled the room, which for me, I think it was 100 people, maybe 200 people. And it was a huge deal for me. Day 2 hits, and I lost my voice. I have 2 more days at this seminar. Now, if you've never done a seminar before, there's risk, right? Because it's 4 days. Well, I can't talk anymore. If I show up on day 3 and I can't talk anymore, what do? Everyone's going to ask for a refund. Well, I don't have the money. I'm just starting out. I already spent the money to pull off the event. It would have been disastrous for me. But guess what? I'm not alone. I had met other people in the industry. I messaged some friends. I go, hey, I lost my voice. I don't know what to do. 2 big names come back, like kind of daisy chains around. A bunch of people start talking. Oh, there's this kid. He lost his voice. Hey, you know what? And 2 people hit me back, John Gray and Tony Robbins, and they come back and they go, hey, I heard what's happening at your seminar, young man. You got to talk to Roger Love. Roger's the world's #1 vocal coach. I go, what's that mean? So they gave me his phone number. I message him. He says, hey, let me give you a call. I said, okay. So I run out back behind the building. I know exactly where I was standing. I remember the color of the pavement because I'm in tears. I'm mortified. I'm like, I can't talk. I go, Hi, Roger? Oh yeah, they told me to call you. I'm gonna lose my business. I can't talk. And I'm fighting to get the words out. I've lost my voice. And Roger, in 15 minutes or less, I mean, he'll tell the story better than me, he fixes me. He does some vocal scaling and ninjutsu. He listens to me, tells me how to breathe, tells me how to stand, tells me how to use my larynx. I can't even use the word now. He didn't tell me. And all of a sudden, in 10, 15 minutes, I got my voice back. And then he says, hey, I hear you're doing good things. I'm going to call you in the morning, and I'm going to help you warm up your voice so you can do day 3 and day 4. So when you're starting, you feel alone. But I also tell you, if you'll reach out and ask for help, somebody knows somebody who can help you. That's true for your mental health. That's true for the loss of your family or somebody. That's true if you're down and out or you're bankrupt. Somebody will know somebody who knows somebody if you have the guts to ask. The worst thing I could have done at that point is be embarrassed, is shut it down, is tell people I couldn't. Instead, I reached out and asked for help. And then along the way, Roger and I became great friends. He became a great mentor. We started doing seminars together. We've taught, some of the best speakers in the world together. I'll teach about the business part. He'll teach about finding your voice. If you don't know Roger, I want to do a quick introduction. I will do him absolutely no service compared to how extraordinary he is as a man, as a father, as a business person, but also for those who don't know Roger, this is the guy who coaches like a Selena Gomez or an Eminem. This is someone who will take a Reese Witherspoon or a Jeff Bridges who have to be able to sing on a movie, who can't sing, who go through other vocal coaches and they can't figure it out. Roger will come in and work with them. And then what happens with Reese Witherspoon or Jeff Bridges? All of a sudden, they win the Academy Award for singing on a movie. That's how he can get you to sing. He can help you speak. But I think your voice and finding your authentic voice is so important. Because listen, we back it all up. Okay, you can do the online marketing. You do the funnels. You can do the live events. You can do the community. You can do the social media. But who are you? What do you really sound like? What's the power of your voice? So knowing Roger was another friend I got to call in and who just volunteers his time to come and serve you guys just like every other speaker here. And I want to give him an amazing Influencer Summit welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, in this room today, we have Mr. Roger Love beaming in with us.
Wow.
Give it in. Roger Love! That's his real name, this guy. Oh my gosh. Because he loves it up. Roger Love is in the house! Woo! Roger!
Good afternoon.
Woo! Good seeing you, brother.
I love it. I love it. I feel after watching you and Dean, I feel like I'm somehow the concert went awry and Elvis Presley and Frank Sinatra just performed, and now I'm going on. But I'm not going to tell which one of you I think was Elvis Presley.
Oh my gosh. Ladies and gentlemen, Roger Love is in this. I can't even believe this is so good. Listen, here's how cool this industry is. I haven't gotten to see Roger since COVID. Roger and I used to do multiple events throughout the year. For 6-7 years, we would serve audiences and help them with their voice, their speaking, their ability to sell, persuade, perform, talk, communicate. And so this is a real blessing to have my friend back in the room. We got to talk a couple of weeks ago and catch up, and so proud of him and his family and everything. But Roger, you uniquely know how to help people understand the power of their voice and how to find it. I'd love for you to share a little bit about your story and a little bit of your, just some advice you might have for all these new influencers here, creators, thought leaders, teachers, coaches who want to go make a difference, because I know you work with this group so much.
First of all, I love you. That was probably the greatest call I ever got from a parking lot. other than we've just towed your car. But this was amazing. And I love you. And you have changed my life. I don't say that just because we're broadcasting. You changed my life. I tell you that every time that we've met. Thank you for those changes. You make my life better every day. So thank you.
Brother.
Yes, I'm so excited. I call myself a voice coach, And more specifically, I've just literally spent my lifetime trying to help people figure out what sounds should come out of their mouths to achieve whatever personal and business goals and success that they dream about. And I'm super, of course, honored to be here and share what I know and give some love and just serve a friend and friends of a friend. We're all new friends together here. So look, at 17 years old, 13 years old, but really I started teaching when I was 17. And for the first 17 years after that, I only taught singers. And then I started focusing on the speaking voice. So I used to believe that it was my mission in life to give people great voices. But now I am infinitely more concerned with using voice to make great people. So I help individuals and companies find their voice and use it to inspire other people. I know that this virtual room today is filled with entrepreneurs and coaches and experts and influencers. And I want to just teach you some of what I know about voice so that will help you build your brand and your company and your vision and yourself as a person. So to start, I believe that a great speaker can do three things. The first thing is they can control the audience's perception of them. The second thing is they move people emotionally, and not just to one emotion the whole time. That person's funny all the time. That person's serious. No, from emotion to emotion. And the third thing that a great speaker has to be able to do is influence the outcome of every conversation they have. And if you can do those three things, your chances of succeeding in your business and your personal life will skyrocket. I also believe that at this moment in time, all around the world, the art and the understanding of oral communication has never been so misunderstood and underutilized. Here's the crazy situation. The number one fear in America and pretty much the rest of the world is still speaking in public. And the number one most requested skill set in business, and I say in general life, is oral communication. So do you see the problem? The very thing that we need to excel at, speaking to one another, is our biggest fear. Students are learning hard skills as they go through the education system, and they're failing at interpersonal soft skills like talking. They're graduating from schools and training programs, and they can't get a job because they can't speak their way through the job interview. And if somehow they squeak through and they get hired, Grammarly report says that each employee is wasting 7.5 hours every week producing nothing because they can't effectively communicate with one another. So the problem is the way oral communication has been taught and learned for centuries is flawed. It's word-based. It's a word-based system, thinking that if we had the right words to say to one another, then we could agree and we could create conversations that would connect me somehow to people and move them emotionally. However, science says that's not true. The brain processes spoken language first for emotion and only after that for logic. Words by themselves have no specific emotion attached. Here we go. I hate bananas. I love bananas. I love chocolate. I hate chocolate. Come on. From that, you have no idea how I feel about bananas or chocolate or bananas dipped in chocolate. So we need to stop focusing on the words without also learning the sounds that should be attached to those words. I love bananas. I hate chocolate, always have. We need a new oral communication system that's sound and emotion based if we're going to influence anyone to any outcome. That's what I've been working on for years. I call it deep communication. So I want to explain a little of the science behind it and show you how to start using it every time you open up your mouth. So when I speak, sound is supposed to be coming riding out of my mouth on a solid stream of air, and it's supposed to vibrate the bodies of anyone who hears me. Now, you can't see sound waves, but that's how it works. That's why I say speaking is not just an oral thing. It's a physical connection. If my sounds vibrate your bodies, we are connected physically. Now, some of that sound goes into your ears, and the first part of the brain that it encounters is called the amygdala. Okay. If the amygdala doesn't think it's emotional content, it rejects it. Not interested. I call that shallow communication. It's speech that never reaches the most important part of the listener's brain. Okay. On the other hand, deep communication is sound and emotion-based. So when I speak, it bypasses the amygdala and goes right to the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain that processes what I say, connects it to feelings, stores it into memory, and takes action on it. Deep communication moves people emotionally and connects them to you and your message. It creates trust, authenticity, clarity, influence, and relationships. I want your voice to engage and inspire others. I want you to be completely confident when you speak, knowing that people will see the best of you. They'll feel it. They'll understand what you know, and they'll understand how much you care. Maya Angelou said, people don't remember what you say, but they remember how you make them feel. Well, now you understand the science behind that. Most of what people say falls on deaf ears because it's shallow communication. You can have all the perfect words sitting right there on the tip of your tongue, but nobody's going to remember what you said because you didn't make them feel something. I grew up singing day and night. I loved it. That's all I wanted to do. I learned how to play every single instrument I could get my hands on. And when I started teaching, I realized that singing and speaking are basically the same thing. You use the same instrument. You have control over 5 variables: pitch, pace, tone, melody, and volume. That single discovery changed the way that I teach both speakers and singers. And I have dedicated my life to the studies of sound and the impact on the brain, emotions, and feelings. I said that there were 5 variables, or what I call building blocks of voice: pitch, pace, tone, melody, and volume. Let's talk about those for a minute, starting with melody. You went to school. Good job. You listened to your teachers, and they were teaching you melody, bad melody, without even knowing or without even intending to teach you anything that was less than perfect. They told you to go down when you got to a comma, go down in volume, and go down in pitch to a lower note. They told you to go down when you got to a period. They told you to the only time that you could go up was when it was a question. Today's a good day? That's the only time I could go up? So they were literally teaching you like a music teacher by listening to them. But what happens? What do we know from music? Every time you go down, which is called a descending melody, every time you go down, you sound sad. My name is Roger Love. It's my birthday. You didn't get me any presents. It's okay. Well, God knows there's enough sadness in the world. The two biggest sounds we hear in the world right now are sadness and anger. Why would you want to add sadness and depression to your voice? Every time you go down in a comma or a period, you sound sad and you make everybody else sad. They didn't tell you that ascending melodies going from low to high would make you sound happy, would make you sound grateful, would make you sound joy-filled. My name is Roger Love. I love chocolate. I love bananas. I love my wife. I love Brendan. Today is amazing. It's my birthday. I didn't get any presents, but there's always next year. Ascending scales. If somebody would have told Mozart that he had to only go up when the lyric had a question attached to it, he'd say, no. I don't think so. Melody is just one thing you're not thinking about as a speaker. I want you to think about it. Okay, next thing, volume. You're afraid of volume. You know why? Because volume has been attached to anger. That person is so loud. That person must be really, 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 really angry. So so we're afraid to get louder because we don't want to sound angry. But what you have to understand is I've figured out all the different sound elements in every major and minor emotion. And what are the sounds of angry? Loud volume, yes, but also monotone. No pitch at all. Monotone, all the same note. I've been saving this up inside of me and I have to get it out and I'm going to explode right now, so I don't have time for melody. That's why monotone. Mad is monotone. Also, angry is fast. Nobody gets mad slowly. I'm so mad. Like I said, I've been holding this back for 33 years. And now I want to tell you, I really don't like bananas. So you have to have all three elements of sound: fast pace, monotone, and extra volume to sound angry. So what do you need to learn? Stop being afraid of volume. You just have to add melody to it. And you just have to stop going so fast when you're louder. So you're spending so much of your time being soft, thinking that if I'm soft and if I'm airy,